Acosta, you told this jury that you're the family's protector. Is that right?
Their what? Protector?
You told your counsel when he had you on direct that you would do anything to protect your kids. You love your boys.
Yes, ma'am.
You love your wife.
Yes, ma'am.
You're concerned about them.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you went home that night and you tried to go find Abel to sort out what had happened, and you saw that Abel was gone, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you know him to be a runaway, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're so concerned about him, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't want to upset your wife.
No, ma'am.
So when you go, and let's be honest about it, you don't go into Garland Detention Center to turn yourself in. You go there to talk to the police, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're so concerned about your son that you never once mentioned that my son is missing to the police while you have the opportunity, do you?
No, ma'am. I asked for
That's
counsel.
my question. You don't mention that Abel is missing. My son, who's known to be a runaway, has left the house. There was this horrible thing that happened last night. I don't know anything about it. He's gone. I need your help, police. Did you tell them that?
No, ma'am.
Did you tell them that you were at the Texaco and you heard shots and it was so crazy and you were so scared? Did you tell them that?
I didn't tell him anything.
Did you tell them that you ducked in your truck because
Judge,
you heard the shots?
excuse me, I'm not going to object at this time because he did invoke his. The objection is that she is commenting on his right to remain silent at that time, Your Honor.
Response to the state?
Defense has opened the door to that fact, and he has told on direct what he told the police.
Not open the door, Your Honor. He said that he told them that he wanted his lawyer, and that's why he didn't cooperate because he wanted his lawyer. He invoked his speech.
Please turn all phones off.
And you were so concerned about your wife, right? And she wasn't feeling well that night?
No, ma'am.
She had been having complications,
Yes, ma'am.
and she asked you for Tylenol.
Yes, ma'am.
And being the protector, you wanted to go and take good care of her, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So instead of getting that Tylenol to her as quickly as you could, you stayed around that Texaco for 9 more minutes, didn't you?
I don't know exactly the time.
You stayed at the Texaco instead of going straight home to take care of your sick wife, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell this jury what'd you tell the jury? You told the jury that when you were being booked in, how crazy it was. They were telling you had $3 million bond, and this is so nuts, right? And this is why you were laughing. I can't believe it. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But the warrant didn't go out for you until the next day on the 28th. Meaning the bond wasn't set until the 28th.
I'm not sure. That's just what the lady downstairs in the intake told me.
Let's talk about that Texaco. You go to that Texaco quite a bit. It's right by your house.
Yes, ma'am.
You know it pretty well.
Somewhat.
Well, you know the gas pumps don't actually pump gas.
Yes, ma'am.
You know there's that game room, smoke shop, what have you.
Yes, ma'am.
So you also know that they keep that door locked.
I don't know
You
about.
cannot get into it from the outside.
I do not know that, ma'am.
This argument about the necklace.
And Judge, I'm going to object to her assuming facts not in evidence, saying that you cannot get into the list and no testimony of that.
Okay. It's a question.
Well, I'm going to say she's assuming facts not in evidence, but it's my objection.
Your objection is overruled. Proceed.
Your argument about the necklace. You've seen the video. We've all seen the video. Help us see what you're telling them. At what point does that argument begin?
Right when I start going to towards Glenbrook, it's the exit, one of the exits. He's telling me to turn around, that he needs to ask one of the guys in there that he needs to know where his whereabouts of his necklace is at.
So at that point, the necklace becomes more important than your wife who's not feeling well?
I just didn't want to upset my son also, because
You
if I
have a lot
upset,
to juggle.
there you go.
So when you're turning around to the pumps, that's where the argument starts. Or when do you start grabbing on his shirt?
As soon as I get real close to, I guess, Armando's truck, the white truck that's out there, I grab him because he starts acting like he's going to open the door. He's like, "Hey, stop, Dad, stop."
How do you grab him?
I grab him by his collar.
By the collar of his shirt?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you grab him hard?
Pretty
Show
hard.
Jerry how you grabbed him.
I just grabbed him pulled his shirt just to hold him on.
How did he come out of it?
Because I grabbed him and he got a little upset with me.
My question is, how did he get out of his T-shirt
He took it off his head.
when you're holding onto it?
I let go and he took it off as a response.
You let go of the T-shirt and then he just takes it off?
Yes, ma'am.
How did he take it off?
Just took it off his head real fast.
Is that when he became concerned about COVID and put the mask on?
I don't understand.
Well, you said he put the mask on because he was concerned about
I don't know exactly when he put the mask on. I was not paying attention to him that closely when exactly he put it on. I know he put it on when we were in the front sometime. I don't know when exactly.
Okay, so after you grab his collar and you're struggling with him in the truck, is that when your truck is stopped? We see your truck stopped at the pumps?
That's after. When I hit the truck, Armando's truck, I stopped. Completely stopped. He was already out of his shirt by then.
Okay. And you don't know if he has a mask or hat on at this point?
The hat, I know the hat was sitting there, and he grabbed it probably at that moment, but I'm not sure to tell you the truth because I'm sitting there arguing with him back and forth.
And you're watching the Cowboy game, right?
Yes, ma'am, of course.
You're up in the first quarter, I believe?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you watching it or are you listening?
Listening to it, ma'am.
Okay. So you're concerned about your wife. You need to get this Tylenol home to her. You're arguing with your son. You got the Cowboy game on. Just juggling a lot of stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So inside this truck that we see in States 192, when you're sitting at the pumps and you say, oh, and now you're also concerned about the fact that you had hit Armando's truck, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're thinking, I don't know if he's going to call the police or I should call the police. Was that what was going through your head?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you want to do the right thing.
Of course.
You're a good man.
Yes, ma'am.
You're a protector.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so when you start driving back around, what's the purpose of coming back around?
He told me that he was going to go into the smoke shop
He told you that he was going to go into the smoke shop for,
to ask the whereabouts of his necklace.
and at that point in time, that was more important than taking care of your sick wife.
I didn't know how long it was going to take, ma'am. Like how I told you, it happened so fast.
My question is, at that time, to you, you made a decision, and that was more important than getting home to your wife.
I was trying to accommodate both of them somehow. Trying to make both of them happy somehow.
And when you heard those shots, tell the jury again, how did you react?
Like how you see people in the video, everybody just ducks. Everybody has a different reaction to stuff.
Did you see your truck parked out there?
Did I what?
Were you watching the video?
Yes, I saw the video.
Did you see your truck sitting outside the front door?
Yes.
Okay? And you saw that the brake light never changed.
Yes, ma'am.
How did you duck in your truck
I went this way.
without moving your foot?
No, because I was already in a position facing my son because we were, arguing.
And you don't see the truck move at all with your movement. Was it a quick movement or a slow duck?
It was a real fast reaction.
But you don't see your truck move at all, do you?
Well, I got a big foot. Size 12.
You told this jury, had you known, you would have stopped, and you would have helped, and you would have done what you could to make it stop, right?
Of course.
You hear shots fired, and you go home, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You hear shots fired, you go home, you can't get out of your son what actually happened, you let him go upstairs, you bring in the groceries, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you were more concerned about calling the cops after hitting Armando's side mirror, but not after you hear shots and you're not sure exactly what happened and your son was there. Is that right?
I'm not sure what exactly happened at the store.
That's not my question. My question is, you told this jury that you wanted to call the cops, or you weren't sure who should call the cops because you tapped Armando's mirror, and you want to be a good person, right?
I was trying to see if he was going to try to tell me something about the mirror. Yes, ma'am.
Exactly, of course. You wanted, in case the police needed to be called out, right?
I didn't know if he was going to call the police. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Right. But after hearing shots fired and not knowing, because your son's not telling you apparently, you don't think to call 911.
I was driving. I was trying to get home safely.
So my question is,
someone-
you don't think to call 911, do you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You saw the cell phone evidence yesterday with all your location
Yes, ma'am.
information? So you heard about 8:30 that you were not at the Rosewood Hill address?
Yes, ma'am.
Abel's phone was hitting at the Rosewood Hill address?
Yes, ma'am.
You heard about the location that you were at?
Yeah, my other address.
No, sir. You were actually hitting off an area that includes a Sonic and a couple car washes, is where you were hitting off of. Are you aware of that?
I don't know where that area is at.
But if your device, so you might have not have been there, but your device was there.
I don't know.
Okay. That car accident, that mark on your truck, it happened early December, didn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
When in December?
I'm not sure.
Well, like closer to first, second, or third?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Early December, middle December?
It could be early December or the 15th. I don't remember.
So you wait until the morning of December 27th between 5:48 and 6:18 to get your truck washed?
I didn't think nothing of it, honestly, ma'am.
When did you take your wife's phone from her?
I'm going to say like at 12-ish.
What did you do then, you said?
I headed towards Fort Worth.
And why were you going to Fort Worth again?
Because my son had a cousin out there named Alec that lived out there. And earlier in the day, he had asked me if they can go to Wildcats or Pin Stacks or something like that, bowling alley. And I told him we would see.
So you just assumed when he wasn't in his room that he must be in Fort Worth?
I'm assuming that he possibly got mad at me and he just didn't ask and he didn't care. You know, he kind of just did what he wanted sometimes.
How'd he get to Fort Worth?
I have no idea, man.
Your wife's sister lives in Fort Worth, correct?
I don't know where she lives, ma'am.
You don't know the Rocco Apartments?
No, ma'am.
So if you had your wife's phone, when she was texting the address and the apartment number in Rocco Apartments, that wasn't for your benefit?
I don't know, ma'am.
Well, what do you mean you don't know? I'm confused.
I don't know where she lives, ma'am.
You had your wife's phone, did you not?
Yes.
Would you want the jury to believe?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, if you had her phone, then you were aware that her sister was texting during that time you say going to Fort Worth to find Abel with her address.
Possibly.
So it's just a coincidence?
I don't know, man.
Okay. And when she texts the next morning at 7:30, do you still have the phone or no?
I was at work, ma'am.
So you would have missed when she asked what your kids like to have for breakfast?
I don't, like I said, I was at work, ma'am.
And then I guess it must just be a coincidence that your son's social media account was also pinging off of Fort Worth in that area by the Rocco Apartments at that same time.
I can't tell you that, ma'am. I don't know.
Just a coincidence.
I don't know.
The number 214-661-0125, who does that belong to?
I don't know, ma'am.
You don't know? Okay. Well, would it surprise you to learn that you had 137 text messages with him on December 27th between 11:30 a.m. and 1:20 while you're at work? Back and forth.
Maybe on my lunch break.
So who does that number belong to?
I don't know. I don't
Who were
know.
you talking to on the 27th during your lunch break?
I really don't know his name. I think his name was probably a made-up name. It was on OfferUp. I had I've never had a a friendship with this person.
Okay. Then you had an hour phone call with this person at 2 p.m. on the 27th. Is that correct?
Yes,
Or
possibly.
2, 3?
I remember talking to somebody off OfferUp, like a tarot card reader.
Okay. Your Honor, may I move first to the bench?
You may. Mr. Acosta, you are still under oath. State, proceed with your cross-examination.
Okay, Mr. Acosta, you just told this jury that you had several text messages from the hours of 11:30 a.m. with this phone number 214-661-0125, and then an hour-long phone call at 2 p.m. You remember having that?
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
And you remember talking about what happened the night before?
No, ma'am.
You don't remember talking?
I never talked to him about that. I had a consultation, a tarot card reading from him.
Okay, so you didn't tell him that that situation was about your youngest Marcus being bullied?
My son Marcus was never bullied, and I never said anything like that to him at all. It was nothing to do with that, ma'am.
So you didn't send him a picture of Raphael and say that?
Never did, ma'am. Never did.
Wasn't finished with my question. So you never sent him a picture of Raphael and said that was the kid who was bullying my son?
Of course not, ma'am.
And you didn't tell him that this was because some drug money being owed?
Of course not, ma'am.
And that you were taking Abel there to fight that kid, right?
I never told him that, ma'am.
You didn't tell him that?
Never, ma'am.
And you didn't tell him that Abel got the gun from Craig Castillo?
No, ma'am. Never did.
And that you saw that kid in the store?
Saw who?
Raphael.
I never told him that I seen him.
And then when you got back in the truck, you told Abel you saw Raphael?
Never did. I don't even know. I still, now, going through this process, I know who they are now. But I've never, at that moment, talking to him on the phone, said anything to him about this situation.
Interesting. So this person that you don't know, he's not a friend of yours, but he has all this information?
It's false information.
Okay.
There's no text messages with me, with him saying any of this, ma'am.
Okay. So, you told him that in this conversation, let's remember, this conversation is at 2 p.m. on the 27th, and we know that because it's in the phone record.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And during this phone conversation that you have with this person, did you tell him that you needed to get rid of your phone and the gun, and you needed to move your wife, and you need to move Abel.
No, ma'am.
You don't remember that?
I never said that at all.
You never said that?
Never.
You don't remember the cell phone records yesterday showing your cell phone over at Lake Ray Hubbard?
Yeah, that was me in traffic.
Oh. So that explains that.
Judge will object to the sidebar.
Sustained.
And this person you spoke to, who you're not friends with, his suggestion was to turn yourself in, right?
He never told me anything to do in that type of problem that I was going through or whatever. I never told him anything about anything of it. I didn't even know. When I talked to him, I didn't even know nothing.
And you told him that you pulled by the front door.
I told him nothing, ma'am. Whatever he's saying is lies. All I know that he was around the victim's family during the funerals, because I saw that in the discovery packet that I was given.
Okay.
That's all I know. It's what.
You didn't tell him that you saw your son creeping up to you?
Of course not, ma'am. I didn't tell him nothing to do with anything of that, ma'am. All I know that he was around the victims' families.
Question. You didn't tell him that you heard gunshots, and when your son came out, you drove off?
Of course not, ma'am.
Okay. And you didn't tell him that they aren't going to get your kids?
Ma'am, I never said anything like that in a phone call with him. And there's no text messages supporting all these lies. They're all lies.
You had the hour phone conversation.
I understand, but it was definitely not about that,
I
ma'am.
haven't asked you a question yet. So your son was wearing these basketball shorts that we see in States 256 that whole day, is that right? And he was wearing these basketball
Yes,
shorts
ma'am.
all day.
Yes, ma'am.
With that black t-shirt we saw him?
Yes, ma'am.
The one that he came out of in the truck.
Yes,
and you
ma'am.
grabbed him by
That
the
shirt.
collar. That same shirt. What happened to that shirt?
He left with that shirt.
He did?
Yes, ma'am. And those boxers, or shorts.
And this gun with that extended clip, I mean, you've seen this, right?
I did, ma'am.
In those he was concealing it in those basketball shorts?
I have no idea how he was concealing anything.
Because he wasn't concealing it, was he?
I don't know what he was doing, ma'am. I didn't see
It was
nothing.
in the truck, and you knew it was in the truck.
Of course not. No, ma'am.
Okay. So you expect this jury to believe. How big is your son?
About a little shorter than I am. He was pretty tall.
How much did he weigh?
About $150, $140.
And so you are expecting this jury to believe that you're a 14-year-old son wearing flimsy basketball shorts was somehow able to conceal this gun with that extended clip. And you never saw it.
I never saw him with a weapon, ma'am.
When you were on direct, did you not have an explanation for everything that we saw in the video? You did, right?
I don't know what you're asking. Well, I don't know what direct is.
When your lawyer was asking you questions, you had an explanation for everything that we saw in the video, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you had an explanation for what happened when you got home, and you have an explanation for Fort Worth. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
The one thing that wasn't discussed was the cell phone at Lake Ray Hubbard. Isn't that right?
I don't know. Can't tell you, ma'am.
Did you listen to the testimony yesterday?
Yes, ma'am.
So you know that another phone was purchased on the 27th, correct?
I do not know, ma'am. When it was purchased, I don't know anything of that.
The phone that tracked along with your wife's phone and your phone, you don't know when that was purchased?
I didn't know, ma'am. I was at work that day.
That it was activated at 4 p.m.?
I was at work, ma'am.
So somehow that phone, your wife's phone, and your phone all tracked together, and then your wife's phone and this new phone, they tracked back to the Rosewood. You remember that, right?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
And your phone somehow stayed in Rockwall, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so your wife's phone, the other phone that was purchased that day, that got activated that day, they're at the Rosewood Hill address at about 5 o'clock, 5:30.
Yes, ma'am.
Your phone tracks a Lake Ray Hubbard, actually until the next morning, what we see in States 378, right?
I don't know where it was located or whatnot. I turned it off when I was going to go meet my wife to pick me up, and I gave her my phone. So I don't know how that phone stuff.
So, okay. So now she has your phone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So you want this jury to believe this concern you have for your wife, right?
Yes, ma'am.
She had this miscarriage and she wasn't feeling good on the 26th.
No, ma'am.
Right? And you're even keeping information away from her because you're so concerned about her, right?
I was concerned about my baby that was in her stomach that was when she was
take
pregnant.
Your wife's phone away from her.
She was-
The communication, and you take it to Fort Worth.
She was asleep, and there was other multiple phones there, ma'am.
Well, she is having a crisis, though, and she's got your phone. You have no phone. How is she supposed to contact you?
When I was detained,
You guys weren't together from about, what, 4:30 till 5:30? So when did she take your phone? I guess I'm confused.
when I was being picked up, when she picked me up and was taking me to the police station, I gave her my phone then.
But your phone stayed in Rockwall.
I don't know where my phone, why it's saying I was in Rockwall. I gave her my phone.
Communicate with your wife while between when you got booked in to now?
Just,
Have phone calls?
of course.
Were those phone calls recorded?
Yes, ma'am. All phone calls in here are recorded.
What's the warning that those phone calls give you before you start talking?
That they're being recorded and monitored at all times.
Tell this jury when you and your wife ever mentioned Abel.
We do.
Oh, really, when? When? What day?
We do. I don't know what day. I can't tell you, but we do.
When was the last time you talked about Abel?
We do speak about my son all the time. I don't remember the date, ma'am.
Yesterday?
I don't remember, but we do speak, and I try not to bring it up because it destroys my wife.
Can you name me one phone call, what day, his birthday, any day in which you spoke about your son?
I try not to bring it up because it destroys my wife, and it destroys her deeply.
So you don't talk about your son?
We do speak about him, but I don't remember what days we do speak about him, man. But when I do, it destroys my son. It's like if my son was hurt and gone. It destroys her as a mom.
So you're not willing to give me a day that you spoke about Abel?
Ma'am, I do not remember these
The question
things.
is, you're not willing to give me a day that you spoke about
I can't tell you what day. I can't tell you that. I'm sorry.
Where did you take your truck to get cleaned again?
to the car wash that's right by the house. It's literally not even 100 yards from that house. Both of my houses is in the middle of it.
And you want this jury to believe that you didn't know anything about what had happened until 3:30 that day on the 27th?
I don't understand.
You want this jury to believe, I mean, this is what you're telling them, that you have no idea about any sort of offense. None whatsoever.
Of course.
Not that you were a person of interest, not that your truck was on the news until 3:30 on December 27th.
Of course, ma'am.
30 minutes after you had the hour-long conversation with Sidney Williams.
Like I said, what he said was lies.
I'll pass the witness.
This Sydney was a what do they call him, a babaloo, what they call him?
Yeah, Babalao, Santero.
All right, you called him because you're concerned about your son and your family, right?
Of course.
I hope they give you a vision in regards to where your son was.
Yes, sir.
That's what you were talking to him about.
Yes, sir.
What religion is that?
Santeria.
Okay, that's not like the Santa Marta.
It has nothing to do with that.
But you hope that he could. You were wondering where your son was.
I only asked him if he can kind of tell me where my son could be.
And then he started trying to extort money out of you and your family.
That's where that hour conversation comes. He was trying to tell me that somebody placed a hex on me and was doing stuff to me and doing all types of black magic towards my family and trying to hurt me.
But if you paid him money, he could help you, right?
Yeah, he said for $750 that he can help my situation and make it better and help my family and help my situation.
Mm-hmm. And your wife comes to visit you, right?
Yes.
So when she's talking about you talking on the phone about Abel,
Yeah.
you got specific instructions. You charged with capital murder,
Exactly.
not to talk about the case
Exactly.
or Abel or anybody else, right?
Exactly.
So that they can't misconstrue what you say, right?
Because they will. They'll try to do all that.
Is Sidney lying?
Of course, sir.
And you said that you know for a fact that he was with the family of the victims, correct?
Yes, sir. On the discovery packet that I read, it says that he was at their funeral and they're awake and it was around the family.
And there was a lot of information about what took place.
Of course.
On social media.
Everything, even these pictures that I supposedly sent and all that is lies. I never sent this man, and there is no text saying that. I've never sent them anything towards relation to that situation and that night.
And you're telling this jury that you did not know this offense was committed when you drove your son?
Yeah, exactly, sir.
That's all I have.
Again, so you want this jury to believe that that family that he talked to at the funeral, that family knew that your intention on the 27th between 2 and 3 p.m. was that you were going to throw away your gun and phone, that you hadn't done it yet, correct? You want the family to believe, or you want this jury to believe, that the family already knew that information, right?
I don't know.
My question is, yeah, I mean, right? That's what you want this jury to believe.
Yes, ma'am, because it's the truth.
Had that information.
It's the truth.
Okay? That family knew you were on your way to Rockwall to throw away your gun, the gun that Abel used, and the phone that you used.
There's no
Out.
objection to the facts and evidence. There's no evidence that.
Okay, your objection is as soon as facts not in evidence, the objection's on the
We've seen the evidence. States 378, the last place your phone pinged off of Lake Ray Hubbard. Did we not see this exhibit?
Yes, ma'am.